All right, here we go. Page 29. Renee, alone in the room now, was trying to make sense of what had happened. Why hadn't Rhonda Kazimbi's name been called? Was it because she cheated? Did she have the wrong answers after all? And where did she get those answers in the first place? It was all very mysterious, and not the least intriguing was Rhonda's behavior when she was dismissed along with the others. Well, best of luck, kid, she chirped, playfully moussing his hair, and scuttling from the room in her cloud dress, apparently not the slightest bit confused or disappointed that she hadn't passed. Renee's musings were interrupted by the pencil woman, poking her head in through the doorway. We've finally gotten rid of the other children, Renard. Had to give them consolation donuts and hugs and whatnot. Only a few more minutes now to wait. She was already withdrawing again when Renee called after her. Excuse me, Miss, I'm sorry, you never told us your name. That's fine, Renard, she said, stepping into the room. You've nothing to be sorry for. Renee waited for her to give her name. Instead, she simply wiped donut crumbs from her lips and said, You had a question? Oh, yes. May I please telephone Miss Pernomal, my tutor? No one has any idea where I am, and I'm afraid she'll be worried. Very good of you, Renard, but don't worry. We've already called Miss Pernomal, so it is all taken care of. The pencil woman began once again to retreat. Excuse me, miss, she stopped. Yes, what is it now, Renard? Forgive me for asking this, miss. I wouldn't ask if it weren't important, but, well, you wouldn't happen to be lying to me, would you? Lying to you? I'm sorry to ask it, but you know, you did tell Miss Pernomal this morning that I could use your phone. And later you told me there was no phone. So you see why I'm concerned. It's just that I don't want Miss Pernomal to worry. The pencil woman seemed unperturbed. That's a perfectly reasonable question, Renard. A perfectly reasonable question. She gave him an approving nod and made as if to leave. Miss, you didn't answer my question. The woman scratched her head, and Renee began to suspect that she was either a little daft or a little deaf. After a moment, however, she said, I suppose you want the truth. Yes, please. Truth is, I haven't called Miss Pernomal, but I will do so immediately. In fact, I was about to call her when you asked me if I had called her yet. Does that satisfy you? Renee hardly knew what to say. He didn't wish to offend the woman, but he could hardly trust her now. And it was more important to know that Miss Pernomal's mind was at ease. I'm sorry, miss, but may I please just call her myself? It'll only take a minute. The pencil woman smiled. When she spoke this time, her voice was quiet, gentle, and she looked Renee in the eye. You are very good to be so concerned about Miss Pernomal. What would you say if I told you that I have, in fact, called her already? No, don't answer that. You won't believe me. How about this? I'll relay her message to you. Do you see now that you didn't need luck? I'm glad you wore matching socks. That is what she told me to tell you. Are you satisfied? Before Renee could make up his mind how to answer, she slipped out of the room, leaving him to puzzle over her mystifying behavior. The message from Miss Pernomal was obviously real, so why hadn't she told him in the first place? As he pondered this, he heard footsteps in the hall, followed by a timid knock at the half-open door. A young boy's face appeared in the doorway. Hello, the boy said, adjusting his spectacles. What are spectacles? Yeah, glasses. Is this where I'm supposed to wait? He spoke so softly that Renee had to strain to hear him. I have no idea. It's where I'm supposed to wait, though, so maybe it is. You're welcome to join me if you like. I'm Renee Muldron. Oh, the boy said uncertainly, my name is Sticky Washington. and I'm wondering if this is the right place. The yellow lady told me to come down the hall and sit with someone named Renard. That's me, Renee said. People call me Renee for short. He put out his hand, and after a moment's hesitation, Sticky came and shook it. Sticky was a noticeably skinny boy, which Renee suspected was how he got his nickname. He was thin as a stick, with light brown skin and the very color of tea that Miss Pronomal made each morning. He had big nervous eyes like a horse's, and for some reason, a perfectly smooth bald head. His tiny, wire-rimmed spectacles gave him the distinguished look of a scholar. A fidgety scholar, though. He seemed quite shy, or at the very least anxious. Well, why shouldn't he be anxious if he'd been through what Renee had been through today? Are you here for the third test? Renee asked. Sticky nodded. I've been waiting all day. I had to be here at 9 o'clock this morning, and the test was over at 10. Since then, I've just been sitting around in an empty room. Lucky I had a pair with me, or I might have starved. I think all the other children got donuts. Why didn't we get donuts? I wondered the same thing. Were you the only one who passed then? The first test, no. A little girl passed it too, but I haven't seen her since yesterday. Maybe they told her to come at a different time? They've had tests here all day. Was there an extremely small girl in your group about half our size? Renee shook his head. He would have remembered anyone so tiny. Maybe she's coming later. Anyway, as for the second test, yes, I was the only one who passed, which surprised me because Sticky stopped himself with a glance at the doorway. He opened his mouth to continue, thought better of it, and at least pretended to notice something on the ceiling as if he'd been about to say anything at all. Obviously, he had a secret. Renee had a sudden suspicion what it was. Because there was a girl who cheated? Sticky's eyes widened. How did you know? The same thing happened to me. I think it's a trick of some kind. Tell me, this girl didn't happen to drop her pencil on the way into the building, did she? Or out on the plaza? Yes. I couldn't believe anybody would take such a chance. We were only allowed to bring one pencil, you know. What did you do? I tried to help her. A few other kids said they were sorry, but they didn't want to be late, and one boy even laughed. I felt awfully sorry for her, so I had her hold onto my feet and lower me down through the grate. She was strong as a bear and had no trouble doing it, and I'm so skinny I fit right through the bars. It was terrifying, though. I don't mind admitting it, hanging upside down, scrabbling around in the dark. I think something even nibbled at my finger, but maybe I imagined it. I can get a little mixed up when I'm scared. You were lucky to find her pencil, Renee observed. It was pitch black down in that drain. Oh no, I didn't find it. But you know what she did? She hauled me back up through the grate and said, "Ah, well, never mind, I have an extra one." And she pulled another pencil right out of her sleeve. Can you believe it? Why she would let me go down in that awful drain when she had an extra pencil, I can't imagine. Then to top it off, she offered me the answers to the test to repay me for the help for trying to help her. Apparently, they didn't do her any good, though, and I'm glad I refused. Okay, we'll stop right there. Sounds like they're just pulling that with everyone to see if anybody's honest, right? Bye, guys.